Hello, welcome back to another GimpWiz tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll just be clearing up some basic GIMP techniques that I might have skimmed over in the past. I'll be showing you and explaining rounded text, reflective text, and for one of my friends, I will be explaining layers and color to alpha. So, just make a new file. For now, just any size. Get your text tool, and for this rounded text, which is what we're going to be doing now, just type in your text. I like this text I have. It's called Nightclub BTN Bold, but you can use any bold text, really. Bold just looks better with rounded text because you can add more of a Gaussian blur to it, and that will just make it more rounded. So now that you have your text layer like this, go to Layer, go to Layer to Image Size. This just makes it one layer. So now click on this layer, go to Filters, Blur, Gaussian blur, and about 15 for the size I'm using right now, but it really depends on the size of the font or the type of font. You just want it so the corners look kind of a little rounded with a little blur on the outside. So, as you can see, it looks a little rounded right there. Now go to Colors and Curves. What curves is, it just adjusts the colors, what kind of color is in the in that specific layer. Like, see if there's green. Okay, maybe I can't do it with green. Oh, there we go. It just gives it more of a green when I move it like that, so you can just mess around with that. Now I'll be using alpha. Oh yeah, and they have the 3 basic colors in the electronic world, red, green, and blue, in case you're wondering. And now alpha. Alpha is transparency, so this just takes away all the transparency or adds some, and makes it into a solid color. So say if I move this one over more, as you can see, it makes all that alpha, which is the transparency caused by the Gaussian blur, into solid layers. So you're just going to want to mess around with these depending on your font size, but this one on the top just makes it a little fatter and bolder, and gives it more color there, and this one just thins it out. So if you just find an equal balance of these, you can get some nice rounded text. You want to have them ending up at a slight slant. You don't want it too close because it gets a little pixely around the corners. You just want to slant it so you have a little bit of that Gaussian blur left in it. If you do it straight over, or as close to the straight over as you can get, it makes it exact, and there's none of that Gaussian blur, so it doesn't look very good. You just want a little bit of that in there. And there you have some rounded text. And now I'll just be using the same text for the reflecting. And you can use whatever you want again. And this one doesn't look better in any specific text. It looks the same in all text, well, depending on which text. So just duplicate your text layer, take your rotate tool, and on the bottom layer, rotate it 180 degrees. Then take your flip tool, flip it horizontally, not vertically, and then take your move tool and move the bottom layer so the lowest point of that top layer of text and the highest point of this bottom layer just barely are separated. You can use your keys to get as close as you can. Now on this one, we're going to add, on the bottom one which we flipped, add a layer mask with white full opacity. And what this does is when we take this gradient right here with a black foreground and a white background, it makes all the black transparent and the white just normal. And make sure you're on HSV clockwise hue. So just click on that, and then click on this. Make sure the layer mask is selected, not the normal one, the layer mask. So then just click, and wherever you click is where the text will actually stop, like where the reflecting will stop, and under it there will be nothing. And as far as you go is as far as the gradient will go. So say you go that far, it'll look like that. So you can just do this with whatever you want, and this works with any color background. Say if I change this background to a red color, fill it in, it's still transparent. Or even if you take a gradient, it's no matter what, it's full transparent. So you take this gradient, it's still transparent. So that's just transparency text. And now for my friends, they wanted me to explain layers a little bit in depth. And what layers do is they help you to organize your drawing or whatever you're doing on GIMP. These layers right here, as you can see, each layer is like a separate drawing in of itself. This top layer, and then this reflective layer is its own layer. So say I want to move this top layer, I just want to move it up, like right here. You can, or wherever, you can just do that. But if they were all on one layer, like say I merged these down into one layer, and I tried to move it, they would all move together. So layers just helps you to keep things organized, and say if you go alpha to selection, which makes all the alpha unselected and everything that actually has a color selected. If you wanted to put a gradient in this, but not the reflective, say I just wanted a foreground to background with red and white, which is what I have, just click and you drag down, and there it is. But if you had these as one layer, and even as the background on one layer, you do the whole thing on one layer, and you wanted to try to stroke down, even if you went alpha to selection, there's no alpha there, so just go on the back and you'd get that. The only way you would have to do it would either, if it's all one color, which it's not, see, you could do it that way, which you can't really do, or you would have to manually select it out. So layers just helps to keep things organized, and helps you be able to put certain effects on certain images, not the whole thing. So I hope that clears it up for you. So, and one other thing that I was asked to describe is a little bit on this colors tab, a color to alpha. What this does is just takes whatever color it says from, say from white to transparency. So all the white in this image will be turned to transparency. You can do this with black, and as you can see, it's almost all black, so it makes it almost all transparent. So those are just some of the basics which I was asked to just explain a little in depth. So I hope this helped you, and if you already know your way around GIMP, then this won't really have helped you, but this is just for those getting started. So this was a GIMP Basics tutorial. I'll see you next time.